G'day, battlers, and today we are jumping in for another cup coming to Go Battle League next week, and that is going to be the Weather Cup. Now, for the first time, the Weather Cup is actually going to be a limited meta in the Ultra League, so not the Great League that we're used to, which is definitely going to bring some more, let's say, I'm going to say reasons to complain. We'll talk about that as we go. First off, what is the Weather Cup? And it's going to be, again, Ultra League 2500 CP cap with typings of fire, water, ice, and rock. So pretty simple to understand there. Not as simple as the Psychic Cup that we've just gone through, but still pretty easy to sort of get the gist of. So we'll jump right into the infographic for the thumbnail, and we've got 5 groups on the screen here. We've got Poliwrath and its little buddy Regirock in the top left. In the top right, we have Jellicent and Ludicolo. In the bottom left, we have Alolan Sandslash, Alolan Ninetales, and Walrein. In the bottom middle, we have the sort of grass types that aren't named Ludicolo in Abomasnow and Credilli. And in the bottom right, we have the other water types, Samurott, Swampert, Lantern, Tentacruel, and there's a lot of other Pokemon that fit into that category that I'll try to talk about towards the end of this video as well, like Tapu Fini. Now, jumping straight in, there are a lot of XL Pokemon in this meta, and that is sort of the big sort of sticking point that I think you're going to hear a lot about as this meta sort of becomes more and more in the public sort of conversation sphere, and that it is incredibly XL candy dominated. So Poliwrath is better with XLs, Ludicolo, Jellicent, Credilli, Abomasnow, Alolan Ninetales, Walrein. Actually, Walrein's okay. Alolan Sandslash, Lantern, Tentacruel. These are all Pokemon that really do require those XL candy power-ups to get your sort of full benefit from. And for a cup that's only going to be in the game for a week, it's probably not worth powering up a brand new XL Pokemon that isn't going to be useful in the regular Ultra League. So something like Poliwrath, for example, definitely has some play in the regular Ultra League. So you've sort of got more credence to be able to power one up for this limited meta and then still use it in the wider meta, as opposed to something like Ludicolo that I'm not sure you're going to see very much outside of these sort of limited typing formats. But if you really do want to go hard, you just want to go ham in the Weather Cup, try and get as much elo as you can, this is definitely somewhere you can invest your resources if you've got some extra spare. Now, Credilli and Abomasnow, Credilli mostly is going to be the defining Pokemon in the cup, which is why it's sort of at the heart of the infographic in that very center there, with Credilli really being able to hit pretty much everything in the meta for something. So it's got Grass Knot for the water types. That includes Jellicent and Ludicolo in the top right. I've got Stone Edge as well to hit the ice types. Poliwrath and Regirock also don't like the Grass Knot. And Credilli is really bulky and really spammy. I think it's a Pokemon that is getting slept on a little less as time goes on. People are sort of understanding that Credilli is a really good Pokemon, but it's a really good Pokemon, and this cup is no exception. It's at the top of the PvPoke rankings for good reason. Shadow also has some reason to go for it because you hit a little bit harder as well. But Credilli, it's a really expensive mon from the XL side of the things, but it is really good. Now, Abomasnow doesn't require as much XLage, I believe, so you can sort of save a little bit of resources if you want to go for that as well, or instead, or as well. You've got Energy Ball, which does give you that grass coverage, not as spammy as the Bullet Seed Grass Knot combo from Credilli, but still nice and spammy, and you've got that Weather Ball that can be nice and spammy as well. Abomasnow's sort of other... I think that Powder Snow is definitely a very strong move for Abomasnow, but there is definitely some play for Razor Leaf Abomasnow in this meta as well. Again, just demolishing all of the water types that are around, because as you can sort of see, there is a lot of water going on in this cup, and so where you can get grass is good, and that is sort of another reason why Credilli and Abomasnow are sort of the heart of this meta. Now, as far as countering these two behemoths of the cup, we've got Poliwrath. Obviously, Poliwrath doesn't like grass type, and Razor Leaf Abomasnow is going to hurt for sure, but it does have access to Dynamic Punch that can do a lot of damage if you can get it through, with Mudshot charging it up pretty quick as well. I've got Regirock in sort of miniature form there, because it also has access to Focus Blast. I think that's the move that it's got. That can definitely hit these two for pretty big damage as well, although it doesn't do as well against Credilli. I think it still beats Shadow Credilli in the one shield, but regular Credilli is still able to sort of overpower it, although it is a little bit close, so maybe if Regirock has a little bit of energy, but it's hard to get a farm down on a lock-on Pokemon, so take that with a grain of salt. Also, the ice types. The ice types are generally pretty decent counters. Walrein, with its water typing, does sort of get held back a little bit more. But Alolan Sandslash, especially with the steel typing, doesn't care as much about the stuff that these guys are throwing. And then Alolan Ninetales also able to put on a big amount of hurt. But other than that, the grass types are really powerful. We'll sort of move along the left triangle. And so we'll go up to the Poliwrath Regirock group. Now, Poliwrath, that is sort of its main role in this meta, is that it is to counter the Credilli and Abomasnow that are going to be everywhere. And Regirock is sort of the... I guess Poliwrath, you don't need XLs. If you have a Hundo Poliwrath, you can pretty much get a lot out of it without much of an investment, as far as you don't have to bring it up to level 50. But Regirock is sort of the cheaper option as far as powering up. It is 100k dust to get the double move, so maybe it's not really a cheap option, but it is another option there if you don't want to XL that Poliwrath up. Now, Poliwrath also good against the ice types. Alolan Ninetales can be a little bit scary with Charm, but then you're going to get really beaten down by the Ludicolo, also not doing very much against Jellicent at all. And Jellicent probably going to be running Shadow Ball in this meta, so definitely going to be doing a lot of damage to the Poliwrath. And then the water types, which you don't have an arrow from, largely do beat the Poliwrath. I mean, Lanturn has access to that big, hard-hitting Thunderbolt that can definitely do that super effective damage to the Poliwrath. Swampet's also got its coverage moves that do quite nicely. Tentacruel with its new moveset still does okay against Poliwrath, and Samurott that isn't like the best Poliwrath counter, but it's okay. It's okay. So water types overall mostly beat the Poliwrath, and then definitely do beat that Regirock. Doesn't like the water as much. Moving on to the ice types, there's also no arrow between the ice types and water types. Alolan Sandslash has the steel typing, so it doesn't love the waters as much. Walrein has the water typing, so it soaks up the water damage, but still doesn't love things like Lanturn with the Thunderbolt. Alolan Ninetales with access to Charm can really just push through a lot of these Pokemon, although Tentacruel with its poison typing doesn't care as much. So that's sort of, there's a little bit of back and forth there, which is why there's no arrow on the screen. But for the, it depends on what ice type you do decide to bring. I think for the most part, oh my gosh, I've just realized this is going to be like Charm double Razor Leaf teams are definitely going to be going with Alolan Ninetales, Abomasnow, and Ludicolo. So that's going to be I think the D-Gen line of the week. So expect a fair bit of that for sure. Now, Jellicent and Ludicolo. Ludicolo is a little bit different to the other grass types in that, again, it is a Razor Leafer, so it does have that big damage, but it's also got the water typing, so it's sort of weak to the other grass types, which brings it down in stock a little bit, but it still does do a really good job. It really does hit all of those water types, the Poliwrath, the Regirock, for nice damage, and doesn't love the ice types too much, but still does okay in that regard as well. I don't think there's much reason for you to run Bubble as a fast move on Ludicolo in this meta, but it's one that I would only recommend that you build if you really are a Ludicolo lover, you love its little dance, or you just intend to use it in a future meta as well, because yeah, it's a big investment for something that you may not get that much use out of. Jellicent just soaks up a lot of damage in this meta. There isn't much that really can hit it for anything super effective, except for, it's got the water typing. I was more thinking about the grass, the ghost sub-typing. Grass, electric, definitely around. Jellicent definitely doesn't love it, but Jellicent does have some play here and is quite bulky as well. And now the water types, again, there is no arrow coming out of it, but does do quite well against the sort of Poliwrath and Regirock, and definitely has play against a lot of those ice types for sure. And this isn't a wide selection of all of the water types in this meta, because if you look at the PV Poke list, it's just water all the way over with some sprinkling of grass on top for the Credilli and Abomasnow. So they're really strong, and there's other options if you do want to sort of look at something that's a little bit cheaper. Again, Swampert, probably the big budget pick in the sort of water category, because you don't need the XL candy, which is definitely nice. Samurott has some play as well, because you've got access to Megahorn, so you can sort of do that big damage to Ludicolo, Abomasnow as well, but I guess you've got Sludge Wave on Swampert anyway, so I'd probably recommend Swampert, and if you get locked up against a Razor Leaf user, you'll just disappear even faster, which has its pros, has its cons. Maybe you won't get a Sludge Wave off, but also maybe they won't get as much farm on you. So yeah, it's a decision thing, but that's sort of in a nutshell, the Weather Cup in the sort of way I see it. So this is sort of a starting ground. As I'm sure, as the sort of week develops, as the cup comes out, you'll see a lot of big content creators coming out with teams that are really rocking the meta, thundering all over the meta, you could say, in the Weather Cup. But yeah, we'll see how that all comes out, and I'm sure there is some sort of amazing pick that I've sort of neglected to talk about in this video. But this should give you a bit of a start. So with that said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for future infographics as well. I think the next one, the next Go Battle League Cup that I'll be making an infographic for is the Evolution Cup, which starts in a few weeks. It's definitely a weird one. It's like middle evolutions only, so we'll see how it does go. But let me know how you feel about sort of an Ultra League meta as well. I know that a lot of people are sort of happy about the variety, but people like myself that are a little bit not on the dust spending side probably will just not be participating in this one so much on the ground. But yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one. Thank you to my patrons and YouTube members as well. And yeah, I need to move my thingamajiggy out of the way. Whee! And yeah, you can check some other videos over there. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure they're cool. So you can go now. You just click something. Bye.